Good morning everybody, good afternoon everybody. You're supposed to be seeing my colleague Sam Fuller, but in a classic sign of the times he's got COVID, so unfortunately he can't be here today, but instead you've got the second best person to deliver this presentation, which is me. My name is Edward Winfield, and today we're going to talk you through balancing people and technology. There's a lot of technology in this room. I'm talking to you from a technology business, but we want to talk you through the importance of not losing the human touch in what we do with technology. So first of all, we're going to introduce you a little bit to Content Guru, very short. The CX landscape, we do a lot of work with the Institute of Customer Service, so they put science around how we behave as customers across all industry segments, and it's good to get a litmus test of what's going on in the UK. And then we're going to talk you through what we believe is total experience and true experience, which is blending all of the different aspects of technology, humans, customers and employees together, and what you should consider in your businesses and how you deliver that to deliver the best in class. And then we'll look at best practice. We're very proud of one of our customers, which we'll talk you through later, which is the #1 organisation in the whole of the UK for the Institute of Customer Service. They're ranked currently #1, and we'll talk you through what they've done and how they've achieved it. So first of all, a little bit about ourselves. We're from Content Guru. We've been delivering cloud contact centres before cloud contact centres were even a word. So we've been doing it since 2005. We're Europe's largest call and contact centre provider, delivering best-in-class CX experiences for organisations and companies, for citizens and retail end customers. So let's look at the CX landscape. So I've already said that we do a lot of work with the Institute of Customer Satisfaction, and they do a lot of survey work, and CSAT is the most important measure that they have still to this day of how you drive customer retention and how you drive growth with those retained customers, and how that in turn delivers you business revenue. And most people lose sight of the fact that getting a new customer is going to cost you 5 times more than keeping the customer that you had already, which often seems like obvious answer, but it's very often that we see customers getting let go because they haven't been looked after properly. And the second one is growth, is that repeat customers are 4 times more likely to recommend you to somebody else, which means that you're proliferating your brand knowledge and being famous for what you're doing well. And all of those drive business revenue, which is why organisations are in business to be there. Let's look at customer satisfaction. So those of you who don't know, the Institute of Customer Service conduct 45,000 separate responses from 3,000 organisations and customers that fulfil feedback and scores. So of its kind, it's the most broad, it's the most deep, and it's the most frequent. It does it twice a year, every year. And we've been tracking what's been happening in the UK Customer Satisfaction Index. And actually, the last data, July 22, CSAT's at its all-time highest rate of 78.4 across all industries. And the reason that's important is, if you look at the graph, you'll see that dip, 76.8, which was the first period of survey in the lockdown. And that's when you couldn't get a refund on your plane ticket, you couldn't cancel your holiday, everything was shut down. And organisations put their fingers in their ears and their hands over their eyes and thought it would go away. Well, it didn't, because people were very, very annoyed about it. And the reason that's important is organisations quickly realised that if they slept into the next period, people are going to start leaving them. So a flurry of enforced activity happened to really drive better customer experience solutions. And actually we believe that COVID probably brought forward most technology decisions by 2 years, because they were enforced on us all, so we had to do things about it. CX-focused businesses experience 1.5 times more growth year on year than competitors, and that's a good bit of research placing the importance on it being a revenue driving indicator. And 63% of customers, and this really is a lasting effect of COVID, is we want stuff personalised. We couldn't interact with humans, we couldn't go to shops, we couldn't get in contact with people, organisations. So that personalisation is absolutely vitally important, and people place a high value against it. And the other thing that will be somewhat surprising is people do not want a no-frill service, and only 11% of people surveyed want a low-cost, no-frills, because they'd rather have something that's of a higher quality that means their loyalty is going to be appreciated. And if you look at the flip side of that, so how many people are willing to pay more for a better customer service, well, that's had a 4.5-point swing, which is absolutely massive. So you're going to pay more because you're going to get a better experience because you got fed up of having a terrible one, and you're going to remember those organisations that cut their costs or cut you off during times of hardship over the last 2 years. So that's really, really important as well. Now, what we don't know, of course, is the economic downturn, what's happening with inflation, what's happening with the energy crisis. Will that last? Will people have the money to pay more for a better customer service? And what we need to do is find innovative ways that aren't expensive but still deliver the outcomes that people appreciate. And the other thing is that 86% of people are going to leave a brand if they have a poor customer experience. You're just not going to have the patience for it anymore. And why should you come to that? Loyalty is really, really important, and 93% of people are likely to stay loyal to a business that delivers them a good customer experience. And that seems absolutely logical. If you treat me well, I can interact with you well, I get the outcomes I need, I'm going to stay with you. Why would I need to move? So all good pointers to what we need to do. What none of us can do is none of us have got a crystal ball, none of us are Nostradamus, none of us planned the COVID and what the ramifications of that were. So you can't predict what's going to happen, but you can choose tools that mean you can be reactive, you can be agile, you can anticipate what's going to happen. We've had further enforced problems. We've had the Ukraine crisis, that's triggered a world energy crisis, that's put inflation up all around the world. Again, all things that you couldn't possibly have predicted were going to happen. But one thing that's very, very common is investment in digital is absolutely skyrocketed, and that's meaning that organisations need to embrace digital. It gives them a lower cost to serve, the workload is more, people want to use it more, and that's really, really, really important for the next point, because you might think that it's the Generation Zs of the world that are the digital natives, and yes they are, but the most percentage of people that want to use digital channels are the over 55s. So the over 55s are the people that are really, really important to give tools and techniques that they can use and interact with organisations. So ignore, I mean, I'm 50, so I'm nearly in that age category now, so ignore me at your peril, everybody. And then nearly 2/3 of businesses expect to increase investments in automation technology, and that's going to help them address this huge bow wave of work that we're expecting people to get through. So what are the current trends in CX? We've mentioned about the personalised service, and that's really important for you feeling valued as a customer, that it's addressed to you as a person, and that might be completely something bespoke in how you're greeted, how you're interacting, what data they have of you. The second thing is, if you've got data about your customers and you can intelligently use it to automate services, what is my, where is my, when is my, then you're going to be able to get through a lot of mundane workflow by embracing technology to do that for you. And those are going to be driven by self-service channels, because some people are quite happy to use a self-service channel. If it gives them the outcome that they need, it's quick, and they get the outcome, everyone's going to be happy to do that. And that frees up your resources and your organisation to do some of the higher complexity tasks. Other interesting fact is nearly 60% of people want to use social media more to interact with organisations. However, only 6% of the overall volume of transactions and interactions are transacted using social media. So social media lags. If we can better embrace how to use social media as a channel to communicate with an organisation, then we're addressing a latent demand that's only being delivered 6% of overall volumes. Now, technology in its own right can't just be used to address a problem. And we talk about this concept of omni-data. You've got insight, you've got metrics, you've got all kinds of stuff around customers' buying behaviours, what they prefer, what they want to do, where they live, how old they are, lots of different kind of metrics. And if you can get omni-data into what you do in your customer experience, then you can resolve queries, you can drive efficiency, and you can do it across the globe. And the tools that you would use to do that are things like the self-service options that I've already mentioned, what is my, where is my, when is my, machine agent personas that can actually sound quite authentic as a human being, whether text steered or voice steered. You can still make that personal if you get the customer's data involved. And then you use the intelligent automation to route the resolution of that inquiry in the right way. And you can do some pretty sophisticated things now with things like natural language processing. All you need to do is be brave enough to ask your customers, tell us why you're calling today, and what they next utterance comes out of their mouth, you can apply the data to them and deliver them a personalised, automated experience. And what that means is you can provide seamless services, and where appropriate you can have a human to help resolve the query, but if it's a self-service inquiry and it can be addressed easily, then you can come in and add, and it never touches a human being, and your customer will still be happy. But the main thing is you get omni-data, you integrate it with AI, you integrate it with your own data from your customers, and you provide that holistic, integrated approach to how you interact with your customers. But automation alone is not the answer, because there's a trap here. So a lot of organisations in lockdown, the portcullis came down, they shut the contact centres because of social distancing, and then they forced you to go down other avenues. And that creates frustration, which is when you can't talk to a human being, the reaction back is you're going to be pretty hacked off. So what you must do when embracing technology is you must offer the chance to speak to a real person when the inquiry can't be resolved. If you keep people hopping around the same loop, then all you're going to do is frustrate them, and in some cases it could be the query is not resolved. So what we advocate is you probably offer something twice or 3 times perhaps, but after that 3rd time the parachute comes in and the human being is offered. So you always offer an escape route to a journey, because if they have a bad experience on something you're forcing them to use, they're unlikely to use it again. And in fact 80% of people using a digital channel for the first time, if it's bad, they'll never use it ever again. So that's really important to bear that in mind. And I can think of lots of organisations where they keep you rough. Have you tried the website? No, because my query's not answered on there. Have you tried the FAQs? No, because they don't answer my query. So you've got to be mindful of sending people around the loop. And this is the balancing act, which is you can use artificial intelligence as a data source to take decisions. You can take the repeat work, the what is my, where is my, when is my, and you can deliver a pretty good experience of it, provided you've got the knowledge and integration into your systems of record. And then, where that customer needs to be united with a human being, then you can use empathy, decision-making skills, applied judgment, all the things that technology can't do, which means you can still deliver excellent customer experience. And it's that human experience, the HX of applying technology and human behaviour to it is really, really important. Now, the second thing we've got to address in the world right now is there are more digital customers than there are humans on the planet. There are 30 billion today, 30 billion IoT devices, whether that be a fridge, a smart car, a tag on something, but they're all digital, the new digital customers. So the Internet of Things is going to proliferate. Today there are 30 billion, there are 8 billion humans, that's 3.75 digital customers for every human. By 2025 that's going to nearly double, so there'll be 60 billion artificial IoT things, and they're all going to require your fridge has run out of milk, order some new stuff from Ocado, digital car needs charging up, energy, meterage, all that kind of things. There's going to be this huge network of things talking to people, and that's going to be the new embracement, because smart devices are digital customers and they're going to need to self-serve too. So if you take your eye off the ball with that, there's a whole pantheon of interactions and transactions that will need addressing. Now, if you've done all your mundane things using artificial intelligence and some automated services, your employees are going to be left with more complicated queries to answer, more difficult things, more problematic things. Now, the best organisations are going to support their employees with knowledge, training, articles, next best action, things like that. So you can't just lead your employees to more complex things. You've got to support them, sometimes in real time, sometimes with knowledge banks, but you've got to make sure that they don't feel that they're on their own, and you leverage data and you leverage artificial intelligence to assist the humans, and that's going to deliver that holistic approach to how they feel. Because as we all know in our industry, recruitment and churn and the pressure put on customer frontline metrics and measurement, you've got to let the employee feel very supported in delivering for your organisation or your brand. So if we combine the customer experience, how our customers experience, we combine our employee experience, then we apply our human experience to how we drive technology and the interfaces that we give our customers and our agents to use, then we're going to drive this thing called true experience, total experience, which gives you a 360-degree view of the organisation, its services, and how it behaves. And we believe that's going to be the next measure for those organisations who want to deliver for their customers. Now, I already told you earlier around one of our proud customers, which is UK Power Networks. It's not a sexy industry, it's a monopoly, a regional monopoly. It provides wires to your home for electricity, but it serves a lot of people, a third of the UK. When bad weather events happen, their contact volumes go up by 40 times. So there's no way in the world they have contact centres with surplus capacity to address that. They've also got vulnerable customers, so they have to prioritise who's the most need. And they've also got repeat callers in these 40 times volume. If you're a repeat callering in, then you're actually going to be clogging up the organisation with more volume again. And this organisation uses automation and has used automation for many, many years. They've been a customer of ours for 16 years. They take information from the system of record. They want to tell you before you notice that your power is cut. They want to update you about your road, where you live, about what's happening in the network to repair your house. They want you to know that they're going to give you a meal at Just Eat because your power is not restored, and they want you to have a hotel in Hastings because they haven't been able to fix the network in time. So an organisation that's really been at the vanguard of using simple methods, system of record, your personal information, and servicing proactively up to you. And the reason they do that is this industry is probably the highest regulated one in the UK. If you screw this stuff up and you abandon a call, the regulators are going to come into town and it's £70 a call. And the fines go up to, at last quarter, one of the organisations was £11.8 million worth of fines. So the business case for these guys is just made for itself. If you deliver great customer service, and these guys do, you're not going to get fined. And you're going to have the investment to deliver more services and more things. Now, we talked about them being the #1 organisation in the UK, and I'm sure you'd agree with me that some of the brands on that list there are ones that you think, wow, they're better than that, are they? And the answer is, yes, they are. They're 86.5. They're better than First Direct, they're better than Marks and Sparks, better than Waitrose, better than John Lewis. And it's a utility company. So it's shocking to think that they are at the vanguard of doing all these smart and clever things, by integrating with the system of record and personalising their interactions with customers. And actually we're jointly shortlisted with them for the most effective management of peak demand. Again, that 40 times spike, how you handle it, how you deal with it, how you leave people in distress with a good customer experience under duress and sensitive times. So, key takeaways from today. So the first thing is customer experience and the employee experience. You add those two things together. How you apply technology, but you have to get your human brain into thinking how it's applied, because technology in its own right, without us putting some empathy into how we're employing it, deploying it, won't work. And then the user interface you give both your customers and your employees is really, really important. And if you join all those things together, that's going to give you what this thing called the true experience. So thank you. That's the presentation for today.